High up above the rolling clouds resided the most mighty and powerful king in the universe. But inside that shining palace, the mighty East Wind King lay dying, while his 3 daughters waited beside his fading breath. With his final strength, the king raised one trembling hand and spoke the words that would change his daughters' lives forever. From beneath his pillow, the king drew 3 magical gifts, each one holding power beyond anything his daughters had ever seen. To Victoria, the eldest, he gave the breath of storms, and her cold eyes gleamed as purple lightning danced in her hands. To Liana, he gave the feather of finding a golden light that would always lead her toward what was truly lost.
This will guide you, Liana.
I will, Father.
And to little Liesel, he gave his last whisper as final breath, a wish that could only ever serve another. Victoria's mother had been a great storm, fierce and beautiful, who loved with a power that consumed everything she touched. But Liana and Liesel's mother had been a gentle morning wind, soft and warm, who loved quietly and without condition.
Go into the world below. In 7 days return. The one with the wisest heart shall rule.
Then the king fell asleep. But that night, while her sisters slept peacefully, Victoria stood alone in the darkness and made a terrible decision. She reached for Liana's golden feather first, but the moment she touched it, it burned her hand like sacred fire.
Yes.
Then she crept toward little Liesel sleeping so peacefully, and reached for the precious jar glowing softly against her tiny heart.
No, Victoria.
But Liesel stirred softly in her sleep and whispered,
Victoria, are you scared too? It is okay if you are.
Then, Victoria gets a little scared. She could not steal their gifts, so she chose something crueler. She would go ahead alone and make sure they failed. Before dawn touched the clouds, Victoria descended alone toward the world below, carrying her storm, her jealousy, and her betrayal. Victoria found a village small, peaceful, full of families, and she decided to show them what power really looked like.
I demand food, shelter, and complete obedience.
We cannot comply, my lady.
You will comply or face the storm.
One drop fell and the village shattered. Lightning split ancient trees, rain crushed the market, and families ran screaming through the ruins. When the storm stopped, the terrified villagers emerged in silence, and Victoria smiled, mistaking their fear for true respect. When Liana woke at sunrise, Victoria was already gone, leaving only cold words carved cruelly into the frosted window glass. Liana reached for her little sister's hand without hesitation, and Liesel took it, trusting her completely, the way she always had. Hand in hand, Liana and Liesel stepped from the Cloud Kingdom's edge. They floated gently toward the unknown world below. They landed beside a wide green meadow, and immediately Liana's magical golden feather began straining fiercely toward the shadows of the dense woods ahead. The forest was darker than night, but Liana held the glowing feather high, guiding little Liesel safely through the silent trees. A child's crying led them into the clearing, where a lonely boy knelt beside a dead fire, weeping in despair. Liana stepped forward carefully, and when the boy looked up, his tear-streaked face held the hopelessness of someone nearly broken. His name was Thomas, and somewhere inside that endless forest, his little sister had vanished.
Her name is Ada. She disappeared alone.
Alone? It's so dark in there.
Liana looked at the golden feather, now burning brighter, and understood at once that Ada was still alive somewhere ahead. Without hesitation, Liana promised to help him, because brave hearts do not leave frightened children alone in dangerous forests.
We'll find her, Thomas, I promise.
Thank you.
Let's go.
Steered by the feather's warm radiance, the trio of children advanced deeper into the woods, pursuing hope through a silent, eerie forest. Concealed within the dark shadows, Victoria followed them closely the entire time, her intensely jealous eyes tracking every single movement they made forward. Victoria carefully poured from her flask, releasing a single drop of potent storm magic that possessed enough strength to instantly obliterate the forest. Without warning, the sky exploded above them, rain slashed sideways, thunder roared.
The wind is too strong!
Thomas gripped their hands firmly, pulling them through the raging tempest while sprinting towards safety as broken tree branches splintered down everywhere. Sheltered beneath the massive fallen tree, Liana held Ezel tightly, realizing instantly that a common tempest could never have tracked them like this. Through the thunder, Liana recognized the magic at once. Only Victoria could have unleashed a storm like this upon them.
Victoria did this.
When the storm finally passed, the forest was unrecognizable, shattered paths, broken trees, and no sign of which way remained forward. But the feather still burned warmly, pulling forward through the wreckage, and Liana understood that Ada was still waiting.
It's showing us the way.
Suddenly, the living wood ceased, revealing a completely silent, desolate clearing centered around a single, imposing tower crafted from black iron. Thomas turned pale. Every child in his village had been warned never to go near the black iron tower. Though Thomas froze in fear, Liana followed the feather's pull and stepped toward the tower, knowing Ada was inside. Leaving Thomas with Ezel, Liana crossed the lifeless clearing alone. While the feather burned brighter the closer she came. The heavy iron entrance remained unlocked, and when Liana gently tapped it, the door swung open, groaning loudly like a deeply held breath. Liana stepped boldly into the tower's deep gloom without looking behind, and the heavy iron door instantly slammed entirely shut right behind her. The feather's golden illumination extended further inside, revealing a group of terrified children cowering inside a dark corner, including young little Ada. But between Liana and the frightened children stood a tall, shadowed figure, watching her with ancient ember-bright eyes, silently. She did not attack. The shadow woman drifted closer instead, carrying a sadness so old it seemed older than the tower. Suddenly, the glowing feather shifted away from the captive youth, pointing directly toward the shadowy woman, as if she were the truly lost soul. Liana understood then. The children were missing, but the shadow woman was what the feather had truly been sent to find. The woman had not always been pure darkness. Long ago, she reigned as a princess, and deeply cherished her very own beloved sister. Liana extended the glowing plume forward, willingly relinquishing her immense magical strength to guide and rescue the genuinely lost, broken shadow woman. As her fingers tightly gripped the glowing quill, brilliant golden light erupted throughout the structure, shattering centuries of deep, oppressive darkness instantly. Exactly where the dark shadow woman had once stood, a youthful princess knelt weeping, finally remembering her true name and beloved sister again. Finally, young Ada sprinted out from the dark fortress, and Thomas caught her tightly inside his embrace as if he would never release her. Their mother came running, and when she saw her children standing alive, she fell to her knees and held them forever. But Victoria watched from the shadows, and her cold heart filled again with fresh rage at seeing her sisters succeed. Then Victoria stepped from the shadows, lifted her vial, and poured every last drop of storm into the breaking sky. Then little Ezel stepped forward, lifted her father's last breath, and whispered her wish not for herself, but for Victoria. The golden radiance penetrated her frozen heart, causing Victoria to gasp as she experienced, for the absolute first time, the true meaning of love. Victoria's legs completely collapsed beneath her weight, causing her to crash downward, weeping, while Ezel immediately grasped her trembling hand without any hesitation. At last, all three sisters embraced tightly, and precisely where they stood, The barren, dead soil instantly remembered how to grow once more. United, hand in hand, the three sisters ascended directly through the radiant golden clouds, beginning the long journey home they nearly lost. The king of the east wind finally opened his ancient eyes, witnessing not bitter rivals before him, but three sisters standing together. Then the king reached toward his smallest daughter and spoke, "The throne of the east wind belongs to you, Ezel."
I will honor this, father.
Ezel looked at her sisters, extended both hands, and said the words that made the king weep with pride. The mighty king of the east wind shut his ancient eyes a final time, transforming into the breeze itself, to bless his daughters forevermore. And so, the three daughters of the east wind stood together, ruling not with storms, but with love forever.